First Contact Protocol. The artificial gravity stuttered as the diplomatic shuttle docked with Nexus Station, a perfectly timed reminder that Captain Maya Chen was far from Earth. She steadied herself against the bulkhead, her muscular frame absorbing the momentary lapse with practiced ease. Most species would have stumbled. Some might have been injured. But Maya, like all humans, had evolved on a world that constantly tried to kill its inhabitants. That's what made her perfect for this job. That's what made her dangerous. Final checks complete, Captain. The station's atmosphere is compatible with your physiology, though you may find it thin. The ship's eye paused, its voice carefully neutral. The Galactic Council representatives await you in Chamber 12. They have requested you come unarmed. Maya snorted. They always do. She ran a hand through her close-cropped black hair and adjusted the formal diplomatic uniform that felt too tight across her shoulders. Inform them I'll comply with standard diplomatic protocols. Nothing more, nothing less. The AI's silence spoke volumes. They both knew that to most species in the Galactic Confederacy, a human was never truly unarmed. Their bodies, built for a planet with crushing gravity, atmospheric poisons, and relentless predators, were weapons unto themselves. The airlock cycled open, revealing a delegation of 3 aliens. Their postures communicated everything their carefully neutral translator devices did not. Apprehension, disgust, and desperation in equal measure. The tallest stepped forward, its diaphanous appendages shimmering under the station lights. Ambassador Trill of the Malorian Collective. Maya had studied their file extensively. Captain Chen, the translator rendered Trill's high-pitched vibrations into flat, emotionless standard. Your punctuality is appreciated, though I must register formal concern at your government sending only a single representative for a matter of this significance. Maya's smile didn't reach her eyes. One human is generally sufficient, Ambassador. Shall we proceed? The second alien, a bulbous creature supported by a hovering platform, emitted a series of clicks that the translator didn't bother interpreting. Maya recognized it as a Venlaxian expression of distaste. She ignored it. The third member of the greeting party surprised her. Azix Tally, rarely seen outside their home systems and even more rarely involved in council politics. Its exoskeleton gleamed a midnight blue that marked it as a scholar caste, not a warrior. Interesting. I am Zixtal, the creature offered, its translator producing a deeper, richer voice than the others. I will serve as your attaché during these negotiations. The Council believes my people's perspective may be relevant to your assignment. Maya nodded, filing away this information. The Zixtali evolved on a world that, while not as lethal as Earth, ranked high on the Carlson scale of planetary hazards. Not quite Deathworlders like humans, but close enough to understand. As they moved through the station's corridors, Maya noted the subtle reinforcements to the floors and walls. This section had been specifically engineered to accommodate heavier gravity species. The air tasted processed, stripped of compounds toxic to the majority of council races, but resulting in a flatness that made Maya's lungs work harder. Perhaps you would like to rest before the briefing, Ambassador Trill suggested, appendages flickering with what Maya recognized as nervous energy. Your journey was long, and we understand that beings from high-stress environments require regular recovery periods. Translation: they didn't want her at full capacity. Maya smiled. I'm perfectly fine, Ambassador. Eager to understand why the Council would specifically request a human diplomat when your own negotiators have centuries more experience. The Venlaxian emitted another series of untranslated clicks. Dismissive, possibly offensive. Zixtal's compound eyes rotated slightly. The situation requires unique skills, Captain. The Council would not have requested assistance from Earth if alternatives existed. They arrived at Chamber 12, a hexagonal room with a central table and seating arrangements designed to accommodate various physiologies. A view screen dominated one wall, currently displaying the gas giant around which Nexus Station orbited. Its swirling storms reminded Maya of Jupiter. though the predominant colors here were purple and green rather than red and orange. 7 other council representatives rose as they entered, members of species Maya recognized from briefings. The insectoid Tresk, the crystalline Flaxians, the amorphous Gelden, and others. Each regarded her with the same mixture of fear and distaste she'd grown accustomed to in her 3 years as a diplomatic specialist. Captain Maya Chen of Earth, Ambassador Trill announced formally. She has agreed to undertake the Vorkath assignment. A ripple of what might have been relief, or possibly dread, passed through the assembled aliens. "Let us proceed directly to the matter at hand," said a Flaxian, its crystalline body refracting light in complex patterns. 3 standard cycles ago, we received a transmission from the previously uncontacted species designating themselves as the Vorkath. They have requested entrance into council space for the purpose of establishing diplomatic relations. The view screen shifted to display an image that made Maya's breath catch. The creature shown was massive, at least 3 meters tall, with a chitinous exoskeleton covering powerful musculature. Multiple limbs ended in what could be tools or weapons. Its head featured compound eyes and mandibles reminiscent of Earth's mantids, though far more complex. They evolved on GSC 29471, continued the Flaxian. A world with 1.4 times Earth gravity, toxic atmospheric compounds, extreme temperature variations, and high radiation levels due to its thin magnetosphere. Another Deathworld species. Suddenly, the Council's request made perfect sense. "We have attempted standard first contact protocols," added a Gelden, its amorphous body shifting nervously. "All 3 diplomatic missions have ended in disaster. The Vorkath appear to interpret our normal greeting procedures as signs of weakness or duplicity. They have become increasingly aggressive, yet continue to request diplomatic exchange." Maya studied the image more carefully. "They're predators," she stated simply. "Evolved for pursuit and ambush. Their communication will be based on dominance hierarchies and threat assessment." "Precisely," said Zixtal, moving closer to Maya than any of the other aliens had dared. "This is why the Council has requested your assistance. Humans are the only Council-affiliated species with similar evolutionary pressures who have successfully integrated into galactic society." Maya laughed, a short, sharp sound that made several representatives flinch. "What my attaché means is that you're all terrified of them, just as you're terrified of us. But you need someone who understands predator psychology to communicate with them." Crudely put, but essentially correct, the Tresk representative chittered. "We are prepared to offer significant concessions to Earth in exchange for your assistance. Technology transfers, trade agreements, reduced restrictions on human expansion." Now they had Maya's full attention. Earth's relationship with the Galactic Council had been strained since first contact 50 years ago. Humans had been classified as a potentially destabilizing influence and subjected to countless restrictions. For the Council to offer concessions meant they were truly desperate. "I'll need complete files on all previous contact attempts," Maya said, slipping naturally into mission planning. "Raw footage, not just your analysis, and I want a direct channel to Earth's diplomatic corps. No delays, no Council oversight." The Venlaxian's hovering platform rose slightly in what Maya interpreted as agitation. "Unacceptable. Council protocols require." "Council protocols have failed 3 times already," Maya interrupted, fixing her gaze on the floating alien. "If you want my help, these are my conditions." A tense silence filled the chamber until Ambassador Trill's appendages flickered in the Nalorian equivalent of a sigh. "Agreed, with the stipulation that your attaché Zixtal remains informed of all communications." Maya nodded, studying the Zixtali with renewed interest. Was it an observer, an ally, or something else entirely? "The Vorkath delegation is scheduled to arrive in 14 standard hours," the Flaxian representative added. "We have prepared specialized quarters for you to rest and review the materials." As the meeting concluded and Maya was escorted to her assigned quarters, she felt Zixtal's compound eyes studying her with an intensity that went beyond professional interest. "You have questions, Maya said once they were alone in the corridor. Many, Zixtal admitted. My people have studied humans since your discovery. You are fascinating. Terrifying, yes, but fascinating. And yet the Council keeps us at arm's length, Maya observed. Fear often drives poor policy decisions, Zixtal replied, mandibles moving in what Maya interpreted as their version of a wry smile. The Council fears what it cannot predict or control. They arrived at her quarters, reinforced, she noted, and with gravity adjusted to Earth normal. The door slid open to reveal a space that was utilitarian but comfortable by human standards. I will return in 2 hours with the files you requested, Zixtal said. Until then, Captain Chen. Alone, Maya began her standard security sweep, checking for surveillance devices. She found 3 and disabled 2, leaving 1 operational in a location where she would say nothing sensitive. Let them think their monitoring was successful. Her communicator chirped, a secure channel from Earth Command. Report, Captain, came the terse voice of Admiral Katri. It's as we suspected, Maya replied quietly. They're desperate. The new species has them terrified enough to offer real concessions. And they have no idea about the Vorkath transmission we intercepted. Maya smiled grimly. None. They think this is first contact. They don't know we've been communicating with the Vorkath for months. Good, the Admiral said. Proceed as planned. This could be the opportunity we've been waiting for, a chance to reshape humanity's position in the galactic community. As Maya ended the transmission, her gaze returned to the image of the Vorkath, still displayed on her datapad. Another species evolved in the crucible of a death world. Another species the Council feared and sought to control. This was more than a diplomatic mission. It was the beginning of something that could change everything. The nature of strength. The incoming ship looked nothing like the sleek, energy-efficient vessels favored by Council races. The Vorkath craft was angular, armored, and bristling with what Maya's trained eye recognized as defensive systems rather than weapons. A critical distinction the Council representatives had missed in their analysis. They're not coming to attack, she murmured to Zixtal, who stood beside her in the observation deck. They're coming prepared to be attacked. The Zixtali's exoskeleton shifted color slightly, indicating interest. An important distinction. Yet the Council perceives threat regardless of intent. That's the problem with prey species making first contact with predators, Maya replied, watching as the massive ship executed a precise docking maneuver. Everything looks like a threat. The last 12 hours had been revealing. Maya had reviewed the previous failed diplomatic attempts, wincing at the Council's fundamental misunderstandings. They had approached the Vorkath with their standard protocols, elaborate displays of peaceful intention, complex gift exchanges, lengthy orations about mutual benefit. To a species evolved on a death world, such behavior appeared as either incomprehensible ritualistic nonsense or, worse, deliberate distraction techniques preceding an ambush. They're ready, announced Ambassador Trill, appendages vibrating with nervous energy. The reception chamber has been prepared according to your unusual specifications. Maya nodded, straightening her uniform, this time her actual diplomatic uniform, not the ceremonial version the Council had initially insisted upon. No ceremonial escort. I'll meet them alone at the airlock. The assembled Council representatives emitted various sounds of alarm and protest. Impossible. Protocol demands. Your safety. Maya held up a hand, silencing them with a gesture that carried the weight of human authority. You asked for my expertise. This is it. The Vorkath will respect direct, honest approach. No ceremonies, no encourage suggesting I need protection. Captain Chen is correct, Zixtal interjected, surprising Maya. My analysis of the previous attempts suggests the ceremonial welcomes were perceived as threatening displays. After further protest, a compromise was reached. Maya would meet the Vorkath delegation at the airlock alone, but Zixtal would observe from a monitoring station, and security protocols would remain active. Maya stood before the massive airlock as the pressure equalized. She had intentionally positioned herself in the center of the corridor, not hiding, not defensive, but not aggressive either, just present and attentive. The inner door slid open. The Verkath that emerged was even more imposing than the images had suggested. Standing nearly 3 meters tall, its chitinous exoskeleton gleamed a deep blue-black under the station lights. 4 primary limbs and 4 secondary manipulators arranged themselves in what Maya recognized as a neutral stance, ready but not threatening. Most striking were its eyes, compound structures like an earth insect's, but with an unmistakable intelligence behind them. They fixed on Maya with laser intensity. "I am Maya Chen, representative of Earth," she said simply, making no movement toward the traditional council greeting rituals. "Welcome to Nexus Station." The Verkath's mandibles clicked in what her translator rendered as, "I am Kravex, voice of the Verkath hegemony. You are not what we expected." Maya smiled. "Nor you, though we have more in common than either of us has with the council races." The massive alien tilted its head, compound eyes gleaming. "You understand. The prey species sent a predator to speak for them." A sound emerged that the translator initially failed to process, then rendered as something approximating laughter. Clever, perhaps not as weak as they seemed. 2 more Verkath emerged behind Kravex, similarly imposing but clearly deferential in their posture. "My advisors," Kravex explained. "Where are yours?" "I speak with the full authority of Earth," Maya replied. "And I've arranged our meeting place. Would you prefer to proceed directly to discussions, or would you like to establish yourselves first?" Kravex's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Direct." "Good. Lead, Maya Chen of Earth." Maya turned and began walking toward the modified conference room she'd arranged, noting how the Verkath delegation moved. Alert, efficient, scanning their surroundings continuously, just as she would in unfamiliar territory. They passed several council staff who pressed themselves against walls, trying to appear as small as possible. The Verkath noticed, of course, mandibles clicking in what Maya suspected was amusement rather than aggression. "The station reeks of fear," Kravex observed. "It is how the previous meetings began, before the misunderstandings." "I've reviewed those encounters," Maya said. "Neither side was equipped to understand the other. That's why I'm here." "Yes, the council finally shows wisdom." Kravex's secondary limbs moved in a pattern Maya couldn't interpret, though they do not know what you and I know. Maya maintained her diplomatic composure, but inwardly she tensed. The hidden communication channel between Earth and the Verkath was supposed to be secret. Had there been a leak? They arrived at the conference room. Instead of the typical council arrangement, ornate seating positioned to emphasize equality and cooperation, Maya had created something entirely different. The room was sparse, with reinforced chairs positioned so all participants could see each other and all exits. The lighting was brighter than council standard, allowing both human and Verkath visual systems to operate at full capacity. No decorations, no ceremonial objects, nothing that could be misinterpreted as a weapon or distraction. Just as importantly, Maya had ensured the room's surveillance systems were transparently visible. No hidden monitoring, no secrets. "You understand preparation for threat without threat itself," Kravex observed, inspecting the room with obvious approval. "Rare among species who have not evolved through struggle." "Humans evolved through struggle," Maya corrected. "Earth is what the Council classifies as a death world, not unlike your home." The Verkath delegation exhibited signs Maya interpreted as surprise. "The prey species classifies your world thus, yet allies with you." "Necessity," Maya said with a small smile. "We're useful when properly directed." Kravex settled into one of the reinforced chairs, a gesture of acceptance that made Maya internally relax slightly. The 2 advisors positioned themselves near the walls, still alert but less tense than before. "Now," Kravex said, "let us speak honestly, predator to predator. What does your council truly want from the Verkath?" Before Maya could answer, the station's alert system blared to life. Red emergency lighting bathed the room as a computerized voice announced, "Security breach in Sector 7. All diplomatic personnel evacuate to designated safe zones. This is not a drill." Maya's communicator activated. Zixtol's voice urgent. "Captain Chen, armed intruders have boarded the station. They're heading toward your position. Council security is responding." But the transmission cut off with an ominous burst of static. The Vorkath delegates had instantly moved to defensive positions, producing small devices that Maya recognized as personal shields, not weapons. "Interesting. This is not our doing," Kravex stated firmly, all four primary limbs now in what was unmistakably a combat-ready stance. "Nor ours," Maya replied, already assessing their tactical situation. "But it appears someone doesn't want our meeting to succeed." The door to the conference room slammed shut and locked with an emergency seal. Maya's access codes failed to override it. "We're trapped," she announced, meeting Kravex's compound gaze directly. "And I suspect this is just the beginning." The Vorkath leader's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Then we face threat together, Maya Chen of Earth. Predators against prey who think themselves hunters." As if in answer, the ventilation system hissed, and Maya's enhanced senses detected a faint, acrid odor. Gas. Likely lethal to both human and Vorkath physiology. The real negotiations, for survival, had begun. End of Part 2.